Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for getting involved with your own opinions today. Keep getting them in into the live chat, so we'll discuss them throughout today's video. Ruben Amorim, many fans are saying that he's creating his own problems in this Manchester United team. We're going to take a look at it, look through the positives as well. So like I say, get involved with your opinions and we'll discuss them throughout today's video. First of all, how are you today, day after?
I'm all right. I'm very clear, and thanks to you out there, made it a lot clearer to me. I looked at the comments last night and I was puzzled. People were blaming Bruno. I did not have the opportunity to look before I did the aftermatch at the goal, the build-up and everything, and people pointed it out. And what a problem we've got. Bruno was having a poor second half, and I'm telling you now, if it was any other player besides Bruno standing there and letting the only player run into the box and didn't run back with him, absolutely, he would have been dragged off. But Bruno didn't get dragged off. His head was all over the place, and what he did by not marking, concentrating, that was typical of that second half by Bruno. So I thank you for pointing it out to me, because I went and looked at it this morning, because last night I was scratching my head thinking Bruno, I thought it was just down to Delo and Delit not clearing it, not attempting it, but clearly Bruno did not do his job. That role does not suit him.
Yeah, just going to get a little bit up on screen, as you can see there, and as you can see highlighted at the top as well. And he had some feelings as well of last season with Arne Slot coming out and breaking down Erik ten Hag's tactics within 5 minutes of us losing at Old Trafford against Liverpool. And as you can see, Alex Iwobi was saying it. We knew that we could, well, we would be able to get behind their two central midfielders and their centre-backs would want to jump on him. We expected that today, and I think Marcus or Silva, their manager, also come out with the same instances as well.
You know, Amorim turned round and said we forgot how to play. Well, the whole team, the opposition knows we forget how to play, because once that midfield goes wide open, that's it. Everyone seems to panic. Bruno does not suit that role, and Casemiro doesn't suit that role. Absolutely not. He's not got the legs for it. Why keep him on there 60 minutes, 70 minutes? Just bring him on with 20 minutes to go, a wise head in that. Everybody knows what the problem is, but Ruben Amorim is persistent with it. Is persistent with it. He has to change it, but he won't change it. There's players there, and they must be looking at why you're putting Bruno there. He keeps telling everyone what to do, and then doesn't do what he should do himself and stays on the pitch. He is creating big problems here. The first game, all positive. They all stuck to the job and everything. But soon as something goes wrong, like it did yesterday with Bruno from that penalty, that was it. All gone. Headless chickens at times in that second half.
He did also mention after the game, Ruben Amorim, on if the ref disrupted Fernandes for the penalty. And he says, no, I think he's not used to missing a penalty. He knows that every moment in this context can have a huge impact on the team. I felt that during the game, he was not so happy, not so involved, because he had so much responsibility, and he felt that the missed penalty was huge for us. Now, just going back to that bit, I felt that during the game, he was not so happy, not so involved. I mean, what's he doing staying on the field then?
Well,
surely that goes for every other player. If they're not carrying out the instructions or performing well, they get took off. That's what the subs are used for. But why is Bruno then still on the pitch?
Well, this is creating a problem, isn't it? It's like his golden boy. And people have said, oh, Bruno is his golden boy. If you're not doing the job and you're not concentrating, you know, and you're triggered because, like, oh, a ref sort of bumps into you. Yeah. And then he picked the ball up and retook it. And then from that moment, he's gone. Well, if any other players, and all the players will know this, there's no two ways about it, if they would have been behaving like Bruno, they would have been took off. For me, Bruno turning around saying he was triggered by the referee. I don't know what to say about it. To me, it's embarrassing, but it is typical of Bruno, always looking for excuses for not doing the right. Anyone can miss a penalty, we know that. But to carry on right through the game and at half-time, I'd love to have been in there at half-time to find out what Ruben Amorim was saying to these players to go out there and do, and then change it within 5 minutes. Bruno stayed on when he clearly didn't have the legs or the energy to chase players, which is what that midfield role is supposed to do. And when a team comes out like Fulham after half-time and says, we know what we've got to do, it's going to be easy. And it was.
Patrick Shields in the chat, thanks for your super chat. It says, Bruno is like Moses in the middle, parting the sea. What do you think about him in that middle, though? Because to me, it looks like Amorim's putting square pegs in round holes. And we all know, we've been talking about it for many weeks now, that Man United need that ball-winning midfielder in there.
I think this is the frustration with a lot of people out there, a lot of people at the games, frustration with us. We can all see it. We can all see it. And I can't really say how many times I've seen Bruno in that role play a good game for 90 minutes. We can all see it. And what's baffling us all is, why is Amorim persisting with it? And players must be asking the same question. I just look at it, you know, we lose one game, and I think to myself, we played really well with structure. We stuck to it and everything. The fight was there, the lot. And then one little thing triggers Bruno, and then we all have to suffer. Well, if Bruno was triggered, and he clearly was, he should have been brought off. So Amorim is doing himself no favours going forward. And we've got some games to come. We've got a Burnley game there. Have to win it. Imagine not winning that game, and then the next 2 games after it, City and Chelsea. My God.
David Dewsnip says, hit the like button, guys. Much appreciated, mate, doing my job. It'd help a lot if you could smash that like button to help support the channel. Andy Murdoch from our members club says, his system is not working. He cannot continue doing this or he will be sacked. Zami Asif, thanks for your super chat. Tony, you need to sell Bruno and Casemiro and get a midfielder. What do you think of our 5-star masterpiece?
I think they missed out. We did say it. Lots of you said it out there. Should have took 100 million. If that was on the table, should have took the 100 million. But what can you say? Amorim didn't want to sell him. Didn't want to sell him. Wanted him in that position where everyone can see it. Now, he's the manager. We're fans. But we're looking at it and thinking, that is the problem. That is the problem. Every team knows that's the way to go through United. And he's putting him there. And it does not work. He runs round all over. And he's doing other jobs and he's telling other people what to do. And he's not doing it. Bruno should be further forward, but he has created a problem because he's got too many players, right, what fit one position.
I mean, he should have looked back and really realised, even that night in the Europa League final against Tottenham, that Bruno in that middle will not work and it wouldn't change or work this season. And like I mentioned earlier on, though, we've all been screaming that we need that central midfielder in there. So shouldn't the pressure now be on the suits in the background, the people doing the transfers, to go out and get him that player that he desperately needs? I mean, we can all see it in the first 2 games.
Listen, after that Europa League final, the suits should have known what to do and they should have acted. Amorim should have known what to do, and they didn't act. The position in the midfield and the goalkeeper should have been done, and they didn't act. We can keep going over and over it again, okay? We all know what should have been done. It's not been done. They're looking for the goalkeeper now, Le Mans. Clearly, Bayindir, he's not the goalkeeper. Onana's not the goalkeeper. You know, putting Bayindir in before Onana, you know, that just tells you Onana's out. He's on his way. He's not the number 1. He's fit. He's ready to play, and he doesn't play him. And then we're talking about a goalkeeper, buying a goalkeeper to come in, right, as cover or to challenge for the number 1 spot. There ain't no challenge. There is no challenge for that position. The goalie comes in and he's number 1, because at times they frighten me to death, these goalies, and use out there. And just bringing him in, a goalkeeper, will help. But the thing is, it's the midfield. It hasn't changed. And that's the most disappointing thing waking up this morning. Good game against Arsenal. All worked well. Got beat, but we're all positive. Going into the Fulham game, and then it all collapses. And pinpointing the problem, and it goes back to Bruno again. So that problem's been there, but it should have been fixed.
I know we keep talking about Bruno there in that midfield, but I don't want to sit here, me, and feel like I'm scapegoating Bruno Fernandes for the team's problems, because I think Bruno Fernandes is still our most influential player in this team, but played in the right position, and that's a number 10. And it's Ruben Amorim's decisions that are costing this team by putting Bruno into that midfield. I mean, how many times did he actually change that centre midfield yesterday? You can't continue playing games when you're making so many changes in the middle of the park like he did yesterday. I mean, Mason Mount, again, for me, a real positive going on from the Arsenal game and Fulham. I mean, not just his attacking work, linking up with the players, his defensive work as well. And in that number 10 role that he plays, he drops into midfield and he creates that extra body in there, which is needed when you've got the likes of Casemiro and Bruno in there. But then when he changed him and put him in the central two with Bruno, I mean, the gaps were still there. They were appearing. We did go on and get the goal from that corner with Leny Yoro, or was it an own goal, what it's been put down to? But you could still see the problems there, and it only then started to escalate and create when Agati come on. I don't even know what Agati's instructions were, because to me, at times, he was dropping into the back three.
No, well, you just look at it and it was disjointed. You know, Bruno, Mount going back like basically a defensive midfield, inviting the trouble on, inviting it on. It just kept coming and coming, and Fulham kept making changes. They knew what to do. I just look at it, you know, when the manager talks about Menu, he's fighting for Bruno's position. I just don't get that, because that is not Bruno's position. So what's he going to do with Bruno? He's stacking up problems with players, not putting them on at the beginning. For me, Ugarte should start the game so he knows exactly what to do. He needs to go hunting early doors, cutting out in the midfield, breaking up play. That's his job. Casemiro doesn't do that. So for me, Ugarte should have started before Casemiro. You're starting Casemiro in 2 games. Going forward, is Casemiro the future? We've got players there. Play him and play him in the right position. It's just too disjointed at the moment. But is the positives? Of course there's positives. It's only 2 games. I look at other teams there. They look good in the first week. And the same as United yesterday, you know, they look lost.
Look at Man City, first game against Wolves, then against Tottenham at home. And yeah, you do get these results at the start of the season. But I think after last season's performance from this team, we expected a stronger start. And I think we did get that. And we got a lot of positives against Arsenal, even though we got beat. But then seeing against Fulham a drop-off in intensity that we actually got against Arsenal, which was baffling to me, especially in that second half.
Well, I look at the back three against Arsenal. Until it all started going wrong yesterday, the back three was sound. What happened was, when the players started falling back, the wing-backs were all over the place. And Shaw was getting terrorised at one point. Because they had all the space and everything, because Dorgu wasn't doing the job. He was running around like a headless chicken the last 20 minutes, to be honest with you. And I've seen that with him before. But that's because the team gets disjointed and falls back. They were trying to hold on to a 1-0 lead. And this is Man United. They should be going out there. We've got players, what we've bought, who were goal scorers. The system just collapsed. It didn't collapse against Arsenal. And I think the panic set in, and the leader, who was Bruno, didn't lead, didn't fit them together, didn't fight, didn't do his job, and it led to other people. Ugarte was an headless chicken, and I'm not criticising Ugarte because he just come on, he didn't know what to do.
But he's also got to take responsibility himself, though, hasn't he, for coming on. I mean, every manager makes a substitution to impact games. And like I mentioned before, whatever his instructions were, he surely wasn't following them or carrying them out, because he was playing far, far too deep for me.
No, they all were.
At that time when he come on, you could see that Fulham had the impetus. They were looking to attack and they had that energy in midfield. And then Agati needed to get closer to him, and Bruno as well, to get in the faces and stop the attacking play, playing through the lines.
Yeah, but we know Bruno didn't. And then you look at Ugarte, right, wants to get the ball out to who? Get the ball out to. So when the ball came on the edge of the area or in the box, who was actually there in the midfield? There was a massive gap. So Ugarte couldn't get the ball out to anyone. There was no football being played there. It was just desperate, boot out, boot out. There was no one there, and that was the problem. And Fulham lapped it up.
I do think as well that it should have been Mbeumo who should have been taken off, and Mason Mount kept in that 10 position instead of being dropped into midfield. I don't think Mbeumo is yet at that match fitness, that sharpness compared to what I've seen him play for Brentford just yet. So that might take him another game or two. Maybe he needs that game against Grimsby, on Wednesday night, like the likes of Sesko and Mainoo as well, who I want to see being given 60 minutes from.
Well, I've always liked Mount. I know there's been lots of criticism for him, and I said, let's see what he's like when he's got pre-season. Let's see if he gets over the injury and that, and he's fought really hard and that, and he's just being used as a scapegoat. Absolutely ridiculous to move him in that position when the substitutes were made after 5 minutes. But that made it worse. That absolutely made it worse. I just didn't see any forward play. And if you look at the game as a whole, I go back to strikers. We brought in goal scorers and everything. One opportunity, and he brought it down absolutely brilliantly. Cunha. That's the really only opportunity I remember, clear opportunity, and he was unlucky not to score. Then we also hit the post. Okay,
Cunha
again, and that was early on. Apart from that, where was the midfield linking up with the forwards after 30 minutes? It wasn't there.
You've just highlighted a problem and then in itself, that one of the main chances that we had, which is 2 of them, let me know if there was more, that the goalkeeper actually created one of them from a long ball.
Yeah, the goalkeeper created that, but then you go back to the week before, and this is the baffling thing, and this is why we can't really go over the top and say, oh, it's all over, it's a disaster, this, that. It's the second game. One game was completely different than the other game, and that was like other teams. So for me, yeah, it's a disaster yesterday on the eye. On the eye, it was a disaster. It can be fixed. There's no two ways about it. It can be fixed. But I look at it, Amorim seems to be stubborn, and people out there are right on it, and they're angry and they're baffled why he's sticking Bruno in that role and he's not changing it, and why, when he's knackered, when he's not in the game and he's not performing, he stays on the pitch.
Yeah, for me, I said it to you in your match reaction yesterday. I think around about that 70th minute mark, just a bit later, that's when I felt the formation needed changing, especially in that midfield when we started to get overrun, where it should have gone maybe into a back four, like a 4-3-3. But as we all know, he's not going to change that. And to me, that's making it easier for the opposition and managers to set up tactically so they can actually make changes in the second half, because they know he's not going to change. So the decisions that they're going to make with the substitutions, more than likely, it will work.
Well, I look at him when he talks about changes and sticking to plans and all that, right? Obviously, he's clearly not going to change with Bruno. It's not going to change with the style, the system and everything else like that. But he talked last night about the front three. Well, we will change depending on the opponents. And I'm thinking to myself, what we really need and what we needed for the first 3 games was the best players out there in the right positions for the first 3 games. And then we can assess it. And he's changing things. And you shouldn't do that. He should stick to it. He should know he was given all the time this summer. Okay. Yes, Cunha and Mbeumo went on the pre-season. Sesko was in late. We know that's wrong. That should have been done early doors. But the thing is, he has to play his best players, not change and fiddle about with it in a game. I just don't understand it. He should know. And I did say the other week, to be honest, Kieron, and the people were like baffled. I said, I don't think he knows his best 11. I honestly don't. Mainoo, what's he going to do with Mainoo? If he's saying Bruno, right, he's fighting Bruno for that position, and clearly Bruno's got that, what does that say about the future for Mainoo?
Based on his actual comments on Bruno during the game as well, after that missed penalty as well. So what's he got to do to get minutes? I said to you as well yesterday that I've noticed with Bruno, when he starts a game, in that central midfield. You look around about that 60, 70-minute mark, that same energy doesn't seem to be there. We all know Bruno's a marathon man. I mean, the stats will be right up there with distance covered, but the intensity in that midfield, what is required in the Premier League, is not there, and it's definitely not been there from Casemiro for the last 2 seasons. So what are you going to get? What's the output going to be? What's the outcome? I mean, it's going to be the same week in, week out, especially if he's then changing it like he is doing, or he did do, against Fulham with Agati, then it's Mason Mount. I mean, you need to know a settled side and your best starting 11.
Well, I look at this scenario. A lot of people criticise me. I used to go on about Rasmus Højlund not getting the ball, not getting the service and everything, okay? You look at that second half display. Where was the attacking formation? Where was the wing play? Where was the going forward from the back to the midfield pushing up with the forwards? Sesko, right, had no chance. Just reminded me completely, 100% of times Rasmus Højlund was not fed the ball because the gaps were too wide. Players were falling back. Amorim conceded that the players wanted to hold on to a 1-0 lead and that they were playing too far back. Okay, so Sesko had no chance. I didn't really notice him. I seen 1 or 2 touches, that was it. Where was the crosses? Where was the players getting behind? They were all falling back. That's poor. So you've got Sesko on there, you've got Mbeumo, you've got Cunha up there, right? And they're falling back. It's absolutely disorganised like anything. But Sesko, right, has got the talent, but are we going to feed him? Because we certainly never fed Rasmus Højlund.
Just going into the chat. Simon, thanks for your super chat, mate. It says, the fan base and media expect too much too soon. We are broken. We need to finish 8th and build from there. We can't win every game.
Well, I don't think we're broken because we can see what's broke and it can be fixed. It's whether the manager can do it. That's how I look at it. When everyone's talking the same, fans, we're basically all on the same page. You know, I miss a few things, you miss a few things. I have an opinion about something, you have an opinion about something. But we're all basically pointing out what the problems are. Okay, and then problems were there at the end of the season. And the 2 problems have not been fixed. So that's down to the club, it's down to the manager, and it's also square pegs in round holes. And some of us, most of us, just don't understand what's going on in games like yesterday. Don't understand it at all. And we can't continue like that. That was there. All the experiments were done last year. They were all done last year. And I said it last night. I just seen experiments, and the panic holding on. They were desperate to get 3 points. Now, I said before the game, I don't care how we get 3 points. Just fight, get in there, ugly and everything. But it was desperate and it was clueless how they were playing football. And Amorim didn't do anything to rectify it. And the captain didn't do anything to rectify it.
Yeah, just going into the chat. Stuart Barrett from our members club said all along, Tony, we should have gone and got 100 million for Bruno Fernandes.
Many people said it. You're right. Many people said it.
Yeah, going back into the chat. Try Giver, I think it's called. Thanks for your super chat, my mate.
Thank you.
Says, Bayindir looks like someone on the bench with a beach ball in a still breeze, waving around, completely helpless. And why not start a fit Sesko? I don't think Sesko's fit, mate. I don't think he had many pre-season games, if any at all, while he was at Leipzig. So when you've seen him over the last couple of games, he doesn't look like he's got that match sharpness yet. But I want to see him get at least 60 minutes and start against Grimsby on Wednesday night. The same with Kobbie Mainoo.
Listen, Sesko, for me, should have started the game. Give him 60, 70 minutes at least. That's what should have happened when the team is ready to come out and fight. They didn't come out and fight in the second half. He was let down. People just walked about in them early 5 minutes. So for me, Sesko should have started yesterday. I did say I wanted him to start. I thought he would start, and it was poor. It was poor, and you have to look at it and say to yourself, is he favouring someone? Is he not sure? Go for it. You're away at home. You've got a centre forward there. If you're under pressure, you've got someone to relieve the pressure.
I mean, later on in the game as well, he then made the substitutions, bringing Harry Maguire on and Aidan Heaven, which a lot of people out there, based on the comments last night, were saying he was going negative, going defensive, when really you want to go all out and secure the 3 points. And you've still got the lad, Kobbie Mainoo, on the bench, who surely, and that, as we've seen over the last 12, 18 months, can change a game and actually get on the score sheet as well in big games.
Listen, Kobbie Mainoo may or may not have been able to change the game. We'll never know that, right? But the game certainly changed when Mason Mount went in that position. That was just diabolical. I've heard Amorim... What?
In centre midfield when he was dropped in there,
yeah,
Bruno.
He was dropped in there. And Bruno's legs, he wasn't doing the job. That was absolutely baffling. Now, early on, Kieron talked about the Fulham team, Webby and that, talking about we know how to get at United, and it was the midfield. Well, once Ruben Amorim made that change, it was clear. It was clear as day as night what was going to happen. And they just overrun us. And United had no answer to it. They couldn't get... That was the poor thing about yesterday. It was the lack of fight and cohesion as a team to battle back and try and create chances and take the game away from Fulham. Now, to be honest, that first half, I think United should have took the game away from Fulham. And I think the second half, they could have come out with a different mindset. But the mindset they came out with was totally disrupted. And I do believe that team talk and Bruno, the way he came out, disrupted people's mentality coming out. No, that's how I see it.
Yeah, you look at the penalty miss by Bruno, and look, it's not the first time it's ever happened to a team where a penalty miss has then affected them after it and they've lost a bit of rhythm. But then you get to half-time, and then at half-time you sort it out, you calm everyone down, and you come out based on the instructions you were given at the start of the match, and you go for it, the intensity's back on it. But we've never seen that, and he made a change within 5 minutes. So that it concerns me that they've gone in at half-time. It's not worked, whatever's been said between the manager, the coaching staff and the players, and he's then had to change it. And then I don't think it had a positive impact in the changes that he gave, because Delot come on, and I mean, I've always said about Delot, he's just a high-five, fist-bumping merchant. I don't think in the big moments in an attack and defence he'll ever do anything good for Manchester United. He'll always let you down, and you've seen that in the build-up to their goal as well yesterday, because he had a part in that to play as well, along with Bruno not tracking Smith Rowe.
It's baffling, you know, when Amorim came, lots of people out there used to say, oh, he plays with wing backs and all that. He's going to change it. He's brought Dorgu in when he did in January and that. And you say to yourself, well, if he loves the wing backs and he loves to play down there, that's his system and everything. He's actually done absolutely nothing to improve that wing back position this year. That's how I look at it, because Delot is not a wing back. I've seen him play everywhere, full back, right back, centre half, left back, you name it, but he's not a wing back. But that is how Ruben Amorim plays. So you would have thought, right, that would have been one of the priority positions for him to sort out. Delot is not a right wing back. Now, is Ahmad? I don't think Ahmad's a wing back, but he's my alternative to anybody what's there, to be honest with you, right? So for me, people did criticise him losing the ball. But one thing about Ahmad, when he lost the ball, I tell you what, he fought back and he rectified the problem.
I mean, a big plus for me over the last 2 games is Leny Yoro. Obviously, Matthias Cunha as well. I mean, Cunha drifted in and out of the game, I thought, yesterday, but had our 2 best opportunities as well. And he does look good with that ball at his feet. He always looks like he can create something. It's just, for me, we need that focal point, that target man in the striker, and that's Sesko, so he can play off him.
Listen, there's something there what absolutely dropped off, right? Like a stone going into water that fast. And it was the press. The press up front. It was all there. They were chasing, they were running around. Now, they're all supposed to be athletes now, a lot fitter and everything else like that, running around. And that was their job when they first came out. But it dropped off. Why did it drop off? I'm not too sure, to be honest with you, right? But the press, they stopped doing it. They stopped Fulham coming out playing football, especially in that first 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. They stopped them playing football, gathering momentum until they started falling back. Then they just came into it. But the press stopped. So you either press as a team or defend as a team. And I didn't really know what they were doing as a team at one point. Well, in that second half, especially.
Patrick Shields, thanks for your super chat. He says, Cunha should have had 2. Maguire should have scored as well.
Maguire should have scored. I've got to agree with that, but it's Maguire. You've got to remember that. Cunha should have scored. Should have scored. Brilliant takedown. And you've just got to say, one of those things. He did it at the post. He was unlucky. It will come for him, as it will come for United as time goes on. And Mbeumo will get fitter. Sesko will get more integrated into the team. So it will come. It's just at this moment, like, it's chalk and cheese, the 2 games, and it's absolutely drove us all mad because there's a lot of holes there, and there's a lot of holes we can pick at, as if to say it's like last year. And I think that's what got everybody in that second half and at the end of the game. It was like watching football from last year. Midfield wide open, goalkeeper don't know what he's doing half the time. You know, hands in your head, on your head, corners and all that. It was reminiscent of last year, and I think that's what's drove everyone mad, okay? And you've just got to say, like, he's got to sort it out. There's players there what can sort it out, but he's not playing them in the right position. He's not playing his best side as far as I'm concerned. I would never play Bruno and Casemiro together. I would never start Casemiro. Never.
Casemiro will be a good option, though, to come on off the bench.
Correct.
In the last 20 minutes.
Wide
If you, yeah, you know, it's all up there in the head.
If you needed him.
Yeah, if you need him, just to try and shore it up a little bit. But for me, he's got to go and try now, whether it's against Grimsby, which I think he might do, with Agati and Kobbie Mainoo in that centre, and see if anything changes, see if there's any more positivity going forward, and being able to close games out in the right way as well. And let's see what he then does against Burnley, because if we go after this transfer window shuts and we've got the same midfield, I can't see these problems really being rectified unless the likes of Kobbie Mainoo and Agati start coming out with stronger performances. And for me, he's then going to have to adapt to what players he's actually got, because clearly the system will not work going forward.
If you bring in any midfield player or any outfield player right now, he has got no chance of changing this for quite a while. The man is going to take time to settle in, get used to his teammates. If Amorim just sticks with certain players in certain positions, is it going to change anything? That's the thing. Oh, holding midfield, but bringing in an holding midfield player to still have Bruno playing there. I'm sorry, no.
Yeah, but a holding midfielder, let's just say the likes of Bayindir, etc., can cover the ground. The intensity is going to be there for the majority, if not all the match. So it can cover the ground in and around Bruno. Casemiro can't do that. Great with the positional sense, but sometimes he's just too easy to be passed around, where the likes of Bayindir and other midfielders out there who are top quality, they don't allow that to happen.
We can't allow Bruno to be in that position, right, and having excuses for things going wrong, okay? We've seen it last year, okay? People criticise him being the captain. He's not captain material and all that, right? I don't think he's a captain material, okay? He concentrates on too much. He's telling people what to do. Well, he should have concentrated on his own position, on what he had to do on the edge of the area, instead of watching Smith Rowe run right past him, okay? That's his problem as a captain.
What is the answer with this current squad in that midfield? Who is the best options to start with? It's getting to that point now where, there's a lot of a mix of opinions amongst Manchester United fans in trying to work it out. But at the moment, it doesn't look like Ruben Amorim can figure out the best options, because it's chopping and changing throughout the games at the moment. And I'm just going to go into the chat. A couple of super chats. Ian J. White, thanks for your super chat, my mate. That midfield isn't working. Bruno shouldn't play there. We can see that. Why can't the manager? We really should be at least 2 up before that penalty.
Yes.
Kobbie Mainoo and Agati, why aren't they playing?
Well, that's...
Bang on, mate.
With the players what we've got, okay, that's my formation in there. That's how it should be. But Ruben Amorim has created his own problem, because Bruno can't play further up. There's other players there, what he's bought, and that's the way it is. And Mason Mount is playing really well, the energy and everything. So for me, Ugarte, Mainoo should be there. They're the future. They're the ones with the legs. They need to start again. Casemiro's not the future. Okay? Last year really should have been his last year. So what he's sticking with Casemiro. So Ruben Amorim, I just say to myself, I don't say to myself, I'm saying what a lot of fans out there are saying. He's had plenty of time to sort this out, and he has to sort it out. The avalanche will come, and if it fails against Burnley, people out there will go absolutely mental because of the games coming up. He hasn't got time. He's had time with these players. He always wanted time with these players. The players from last year I'm on about, right? He's got them fitter. They look fitter, okay? But nothing seems to have changed in the football.
Yeah, and, you know, like I say, there is positives, I do think, though, from individual performances. I really do, against Arsenal and against Fulham as well. But it's the weak link, and the weak link looks like it's always going to be that central midfield area, and it does need sorting out, because I do think going forward over the next 2-3 games, we will see a lot more of a sharpness from Cunha and Mbeumo and Sesko starting. And once they get a relationship together, start forming partnerships, I think we will start seeing some good things and good football further up the pitch. It's just when the opposition have got the ball, the counter-attacking at speed, you know, that midfield, it looks wide open still, and that it can still be passed through. When Fulham are telling you that after the game, like Webby and their manager, other teams can see it, and that's a concern for me, especially when I've seen good performances as well from the back three. I mean, De Ligt for me has been a monster in that Arsenal game. He was very good, I think, and solid against Fulham as well. And I just think that midfield area, they've got to look at it. The men in suits, they've got to.
No, I'll go back, and I think everyone's getting sick of that midfield. They've got to look at it. We all know they should have looked at it at the end of the season. But going forward, you've got to look at it. The goalkeeping situation. The back three have no criticism whatsoever. What's a hell of a lot better than what it was last year. Okay? Shaw is doing well. Yoro doing well. De Ligt's doing well. I've no arguments about that. Okay? But you've got to look forward here now. Okay? Now, put this in your diary. Le Mans signs as the goalkeeper. His first game will be against Manchester City at Old Trafford.
That's it.
Oh, at City, sorry. What a game. Now, I've seen players play their first game against City and get destroyed.
Patrice Evra,
absolute classic, right? But to play City, your first game in goal, knowing the history, that is pressure. Now, let's hope we sign him, because there is no way Bayindir and Onana should start. They've not got Onana in the mind to start for Manchester United. So why didn't they get rid of him? Why haven't they dealt with that problem? And now this goalkeeper is going to be possibly starting against Manchester City. How's that going to work, everyone out there? What do you think about that? Do you think he'll have a steady game? Do you think he'll have nerves of steel? Do you think he'll flap at the ball? Do you think he'll be all right? Hey.
I just seen in the chat there, Niche Fan says, if you're playing a two in midfield in the Prem, they have to be top midfielders, i.e. Baleba and Wharton. And like we said, that throughout today's video, you need the two players to have that intensity, that energy throughout the game to go and close down the opposition. And I think too many times we're seeing our central midfielders dropping off the opposition.
Well, you're
conceding possession.
You're going about the central midfield. I've already talked about the wing-backs, Dorgu, you know, just gets indisciplined. And I think
control, I think, a lot of it. Yeah.
I just look at it, not just yesterday. I think he plays well, and then suddenly he sort of goes off the boil for some reason. And then you look at the right wing back and you say to yourself, going forward, it's going to be a major problem. Major problem. Go and get a defensive midfield player. Fantastic. But you've got a wing back there. You've got three players fighting for that position. And he's got Dalot in his sights, Amorim, putting him in front of anyone. And you've got Ahmad there, and you've got Mazraoui. I just see problems coming up if these players don't gel. And they've got another week to gel, because when they come back from the international break, I don't think they'll have time to sort this out. And Amorim needs time.
I mean, I've seen a couple of comments last night, and I can't really disagree. And it leaves you baffled, scratching your head a little bit. And they pointed out Thomas Frank there at Tottenham. It's come in there. Changed him, give him a new lease of life. By the looks of it, when you've seen him over the first 2 games, and it's like, well, where's our impact from our manager? He's had that summer, he's had the training with him, the pre-season. You know, no games now midweek in Europe. Obviously, domestic cup competitions got a lot more time on the training ground. Are we seeing the actual change that we was all hoping and expected, though, in a positive way in terms of the performances?
Well, this has been a bugbear amongst a lot of people what have said Amorim's not good enough. Okay, Erik ten Hag gets the sack, bang, you want the bounce. Okay, you want the bounce. Get these players, G them up, away you go. It didn't happen, did it? We all seen that, right? He's had everything. He's been given everything. Okay, what's possible. Not everything you want, you always get. But whatever was possible, finance-wise and everything, he's got it. He's got a strike force there. He's got time with players. He's been able to turn them around, get them fit, get them used to the system, know what they're doing. We've seen that in pre-season, especially in America. So for me, I just look at it and go, has he got much time?
No, he needs to start winning football matches, Ruben Amorim. He's used up all the credit in the bank, what he did do last season. And I remember getting slated on here back in July, giving it it's your generation that's the problem here in this fan base, etc. When I turned around in January and said, them first 10 games of this season, I need to see improvement. I'm not talking about like real progress in terms of like getting in the top 4, top 5, etc. But I want to see improvement. And up to now, have I seen enough improvement? Not really. No, I've not. I'm seeing square pegs in round holes still. Players like Bruno Fernandes, who in my opinion is still the most influential player in this squad, but in his right position. And he's changing things around during the game. His man management, even 5 minutes into a second half, changing things quickly, bringing like Harry Maguire on, Aiden Heaven, defensive options when you've got attacking options on the bench and you want to go and grab them 3 points, which are needed.
I look at what's going on, and I go back to it, and I honestly, at this moment in time, I don't think Ruben, and I've said it for a while, I don't think Ruben Amorim knows his best players. That's how I see it, and that I think is sinking in with the players because some of the players are baffled, and he has to get that sorted. I think once he gets that sorted, and we get into a rhythm of players playing with each other, getting used to each other. And it's always difficult. It's always difficult at the start of the season. So you've got to stay positive. Yeah. I'm positive. Now, when I say positive, I've said before it's going to be carnage and chaos. Said it last year. And I said this year will be the same at times. I didn't expect yet it to come straight away, especially at Fulham, to be honest with you. Players not knowing what to do, not fighting proper, not playing as a team, manager not really doing the right instructions and everything. I didn't expect that, to be honest with you, so early on, especially after the Arsenal game. But going forward, I do expect things to be better with a bit of chaos and carnage. And I've always said, since the end of last season, the best position I think we'll get is 8th. A lot of people are scoffed at that, even with these 3 players. But the club aren't looking at it like that. They're looking at Champions League, which brings problems in itself and pressure from the men in suits. There you are. You've been given the money. You've been given the money. You've got your players. You've got your attack. Let's have some goals. We've not had the goals. We had a deflection yesterday.
I mean, the frustrating part as well is you 1-0 up. You know, you're looking at them 3 points and just close the game out, and we were unable to do that. And Amorim actually said after the game, we have to grow up a lot as a team. For me, the most important thing is that during the week, they were working really hard. Today, we worked really hard, and we are going to improve. The moment that changed the game was our goal. I mean, it's all right, you're working hard through the week, Ruben, but as fans, we want to see it on a match day. It's as simple as that.
I've got to say, at times, and I've said it before about Ruben Amorim with these press conferences and interviews he's doing too many, and some of them aren't making sense. And what Kieron has just read out there, to me, is waffle. It's just waffle.
I mean, the bit where he says we have to grow up a lot as a team.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, it's ridiculous, but a lot of people out there, and including myself here, are now thinking, well, Bruno Fernandes needs to grow up in the way he let that penalty miss affect him. And some of the petulance you've then seen throughout the game where his head's dropped, you know what I mean? And that's the captain. And you need your captain in moments to drive the team forward. And in that second half, I didn't see it from him, especially in the last 20 minutes. And I've said previous and in today's video, I think he loses that energy and that intensity, Bruno, when he starts in that midfield too, after like the 60th, 70th minute. I think his legs are not what they used to be. And that's to be expected. He's coming up to 31 years of age. Life catches us all. But to put a square peg in a round hole like he is doing with Bruno isn't going to solve any of their midfield problems.
Well, why hasn't Amorim sorted out the petulance from Bruno? He's seen it all last year. Okay? He's had all summer with him. He's got lots of time to train with him. Why hasn't he sorted individual problems out with individual players? And he doesn't seem to have done it on the evidence of yesterday.
Just going into the chat, Ray Stone from our members club.
Thank you.
Thanks for your super chat, mate. It says, I've been United since the old second division brackets. Great times.
Yeah.
So hard now to stay positive.
Well, yesterday doesn't make you positive, and that's the annoying thing. All summer we was positive. We've got a strike force, got players what can score goals and everything. And then the old bad habits come back yesterday, but they've come back so early in the season, the second game, first away game. I mean, you try to stay positive and everything else like that. And, I remember the second division and all that. There were great days in that, But I looked at the game yesterday and I did me after match in that. And I had people phone me up. People phone me up to tell me who was at the game and saying what you said on your on the channel after match. We agree with 100%. So I'm still looking at it as a fan, going to games and that. So I've got that with them. And I did enjoy the conversation. But it just shows you we're all feeling it. We're all seeing it. They weren't slagging Ruben Amorim. They were saying, well, it's got to improve. And I agree. It's got to improve.
Just going to go into the chat. The Cake Cadet. Thanks for your super chat.
Thank you.
He says, Bruno is meant to be a brilliant passer. Why can't he dictate play like Scholes could, like Michael Carrick could? Why don't we see that controlled possession? And I go back to the Fulham away game last season. And I think it was maybe the first match Ruben Amorim put him in and started him in that midfield too. And he chose him over Kobbie Mainoo. And his reasoning was because he felt Bruno gives more control in the build-up play from midfield. I don't see that. Bruno's always at his best. You could say in controlled chaos, where it's all one-touch football, two-touch football, first-time balls. When he's got that ball at his feet and he's in that deeper role near his back three and he's taking 2, 3, 4 touches and it's not quick enough, I think the team and the rhythm actually slows down as well.
He gets the desperate pass. Have you seen it?
The Hollywood ball.
He does the Hollywood ball, the long ball instead of the short ball, and that's why he needs to be further forward. He actually stops the play with his extra touch and that. And the one-touch football is the way to go. We all seen the one-touch football yesterday. That first 15, 20 minutes, we all seen it.
Bruno himself.
So nobody were all doing it. So they can do it. And then one slight thing goes wrong and they seem to lose the plot. Well, the captain, the manager, should be acting to get it back. And like I said earlier on, where was the press? The press stopped. So as soon as something goes wrong, okay, the mentality of the players on the pitch seems to change, that they can't get it back. There doesn't seem to be able to get that fight. Whenever, like last year when I looked, when we go a goal down or something like, we never had the fight, we never had the mentality to work it out and stick to the grind and work our way back into the game. Very rarely did I see that. And yesterday, there was just a total collapse of that grind, that work to get back into the game. There was no one sort of leading the team. It wasn't a team in that second half. I didn't see it.
And the thing is, we can't just keep pinpointing Bruno in that centre midfield. The likes of Casemiro, he can't be just giving the excuse of, oh, his legs have gone. I mean, he needs to do better himself. Multiple Champions League winner. You can't be here at Manchester United just picking your wages up week in, week out. You, Casemiro, must do better in the position you're playing.
But he's not going to do better. He's picking his wages up. He shouldn't even be on the pitch. That's my opinion. Now, I've not seen many people argue against that, okay? He hasn't got the legs. He hasn't got the energy to get up and back. So what's he on there for?
Good point to wrap it up. Just like to thank you all for joining us today, getting involved with your own opinions. Been absolutely popping off in there, to be quite honest with you, and a lot of good opinions in there as well, I must add. But thanks for joining us. Smash that like button as well to help support the channel. If it's your first time watching, please subscribe. We're on the march to 100k, and we'll be back tomorrow with another live video. So get that notification on, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Much love. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.